Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. I don't know where in the world you are. This is ScreenJunkies Universe. I don't know when you're watching this. I don't know these things. I am Roth Cornett. What I do know is that I have late onset con flu happening.
Oh, no.
So I've assembled...
Why did you not tell us that before you started the show?
Get the surgical mask going or something.
I was just saying with my girlfriend today how none of us had gotten the con flu, and now...
There's no, good job badge for coming in sick.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I totally got con flu, guys. So I'm the only one that's immune. I'm so sorry.
All right, go ahead,
This
Rob.
show is starting out wonderfully. I've assembled a team of compassionate,
Do the news.
not at all germophobic human beings to help me bring you a wonderful show today. This is Spencer Gilbert,
Honor and
Dan
privilege.
Merle,
Hi, I'm not currently sick. We'll see how that holds up.
Yeah.
and Danielle Radford, who I
Hello.
always still want to call Radcliffe.
I know, everyone does.
It's only because I love Harry Potter so much. Let us go to the facts of the internet, people. That's me pretending I actually have a graphic for that. I don't. If you guys want to make me one and tweet it to me, that'd be great. Star Wars Episode 9 gets a new writer.
I've heard of that.
Jack Thorne has come in. He is a British scribe. I'm reading my producer's words, who penned the upcoming Julia Roberts and Jacob Tremblay movie Wonder. Colin Trevorrow
made the Jacob Tremblay movie Child
Book of
Murderer.
Henry.
Yeah.
The Book of Henry, and that's the
Otherwise
point.
known as
Child
Mom
murderer.
Assassin.
Well, that's sort of the question. Colin Trevorrow worked on the script with his writing partner, Derek Connolly. They're reportedly, this is coming from the Hollywood Reporter, tossing that out and almost doing a rewrite. Now, it could just be sort of punching it up. Rewrites are not unusual for big films, but given the reception of the Book of Henry, what do we think this means long term?
All I know is that this is way better. Do it now instead of going in, and everyone does reshoots. They're going to do reshoots because that's just built into the schedule now. I would rather that than have a Untitled Han Solo movie situation where all of a sudden you have someone else coming in and they're redoing the whole movie essentially. So if you're going to start making changes, at least they're doing it now instead of waiting until later.
Spencer,
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know.
you're a writer.
I like this guy. I like this guy because he.
You're the expert.
I defend The Cursed Child, and he wrote that too, right? Which is not a beloved Harry Potter edition because it's a play and you're reading it on a page and it just doesn't translate. I think that it's way better than people give it credit for because it'd be like reading the script to a movie like Gravity or something. You need to see it live, but it's got great character work. He's got a really good sense of character and motivation. And I think that, he's probably better than Colin Trevorrow for writing a screenplay. Just going out on a limb here.
What do you think, Dan?
I think I've heard this story before, and it was 2 years before The Force Awakens came out when Michael Arndt got replaced.
Yeah.
And everybody, well, not everybody, but generally people responded positively to The Force Awakens in a general sense. I know there are plenty of people out there who didn't like it, but I think generally people responded positively. So I'm not so inclined necessarily to ring the alarm bells just because, they completely replaced the writer of Force Awakens at about this stage in its production before it came out. They completely rewrote Rogue One 6 months before it came out, basically. I mean, Tony Gilroy came in and changed a lot, and that was a movie that was generally well-regarded. Again, I know some people didn't like it. Generally well-regarded by fans. So I'm not running around with my hair on fire if I had it over this, because this seems to be par for the course. And I'm with Danielle. If they need to make a change, do it now. You're in pre-production. This is the time to do it.
But then if you pull back and look holistically, it's like, this isn't a good sign. It's not a bad sign, but it's not a good sign.
It's a sign that there's a bit of a systemic problem
The
with
Han
Disney.
Solo,
Yeah.
not a great sign.
Yeah.
The departure, and then Colin Trevorrow's Book of Henry, not a great sign.
Well,
Individually, they're fine, but taken together, what the hell's going on?
Well, why
Well,
would they
thank
hire
you.
the guy to write to begin with? I mean, my problem with Jurassic World was never the way that it was shot, and it was never the performances. It was the dumbass script that was written by Colin Trevorrow, amongst others. So I'm not shocked that maybe it wasn't a great script, but
I mean,
that's
but
just me.
that's sort of the point. I don't think that most people would make anything out of this, a new writer. Really, But except for the reception of Book of Henry and the curiosity, if after what happened with Han Solo, that maybe they are going to lose faith. I don't think any announcement about him being replaced as director would happen soon, because it's too hot off the heels of Han Solo. You've got Ron Howard out there like tweeting like, everything's fine here, nothing to see. Like,
Everything's great in the Star Wars.
Look at these droids.
So many wars and stars around here.
Like he's tweeting us mixing boards to just assure us, or what is that?
What is that?
Oh, there. Look at the droid. Everything's fine.
Is it fine? It sounds like they're really giving him a lot of trouble.
Seems to be having a real
This might be a cry for help
on that movie. Your droids.
Which is sort of understandable, right? I think they want to assure everybody like the movie's going to be good, you're going to like it. They're trying to turn around the messaging. But I do have to wonder what this will ultimately mean for Star Wars moving forward and the kind of directors they'll want to work with. Although he is ostensibly speaking a shooter, right? Like he delivered, I know how you feel about Jurassic World. It made a ton.
It made a lot of money.
Sure did.
It made a crap load of money. And
Well, you could put a lightsaber on a piece of shit and call it Star Wars, and people would line up to see it. I mean, quality, let's face it, if you put Star Wars in front of a movie now, there's still so much goodwill that people will go see it, and it'll make $1 billion.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's one of those things where just trying to learn from some of the mistakes that have been having while other people have been trying to get these expanded universes together that are just not seeming to come together. And I'm hoping that that is what it is, where it's like, hey, we still have a chance to right this ship, so let's do it now, rather than again waiting with Han Solo and with other movies and with things like, you know, the big controversy about who was really in charge of the Mummy and whether or not the star got too much, whatever. I think maybe there's a chance that they are learning the lessons from watching these other studios and other companies give this thing a go. And that's, for me, that's a positive thing. Like, yes, please pay attention to what else is happening and learn from that.
I have a final thought before we move on to midichlorians like you do. And that is, at the same time, it's our job to track all this stuff. But if you look at some of the most beloved films of all times, they were riddled with production problems. Gone with the Wind famously went through, I always bring this up as my example because it was a huge hit. It's considered a classic film, had 3 different directors. So to some degree, it's like the final product is really the only thing that matters. Yeah. And I hope that Lucasfilm actually makes a decision to go after creators that have a very strong vision. I know what just happened with Han Solo didn't go that well for them, so they may want shooters. But ultimately, if we're going to get this many Star Wars movies, make some of them weird.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I mean, I agree. I'll be able to answer the question, is Star Wars 9 in trouble, when I'm in the theater and the end credits roll, and if it sucks, then yes, it's in very big trouble. Sure. Other than that, I don't know.
I just took a peek in chat, and what is being called for, Spencer, are your legs. So I'll just somehow, I don't know how you're going to deliver.
I mean, they're cloaked in fabric right now, but they're always there, waiting.
But Spencer's legs are right here for you. You know what we don't get to do enough around here is to talk about...
Show some skin.
Show some skin, get a little naked, and talk about science. But we're going to do all of those things, or at least one of them right now. So there is a Discover magazine writer and neuroscientist who goes by the moniker Neuroskeptic, wrote an article about midichlorians basically to troll and expose some scientific journals that weren't doing their research and were not double checking that actually they were publishing science fact or even theory. This is how obvious it would have been to anyone who's seen Star Wars. What's amazing to me is that there are this many people working at scientific magazines that have not seen Star Wars, because he basically...
Well, they are doing actual, like
real science?
Real science and experiments.
In fact, Dan, they're not, as I'm quickly going to point out, they are not doing real science things. So this article basically has an entire passage that's an excerpt from Palpatine's The Tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise speech.
Oh, wait, where? Is it in there?
Yes.
Elton fortunately taught his apprentice everything he knew, and his apprentice governess.
That's amazing.
He named one of the
awesome.
authors Dr. Lucas McGeorge.
Sure.
And the other one, Dr. Annette Kin.
Maybe they just skipped the prequels. You know, maybe they were like only original trilogy. I'm not going
true.
to see this new stuff. So this would be the first time they're hearing about midichlorians, and I'm jealous.
A little bit jealous of it, right? I wonder what they made of it. So this was published, I'm going to call out the journals, the American Journal of Medical and Biological Research, and they wanted to charge $360 for the publication.
Oh, so like so it's like a farm, like you pay them, and then you get to say you're published, but it doesn't matter
Exactly.
what.
Yeah, it's like
Exactly.
pay to publish.
Pay to
Gotcha.
publish for your
They're
career.
like those fake news sites where it's like libertynews.biz, where it like seems sort of legitimate.
But really,
Sounds legitimate, but it's not.
Yeah, got it. I should start one of those.
You really should. We should also I don't know, what's the most profitable thing that we could do?
I mean, robbing banks.
yeah,
but
right.
It's illegal.
Great question.
So we
Oh,
shouldn't do
we
that.
would be terrible at that. I've met all of us. Weird, not stealthy.
I don't know. I feel like I could name a couple things, but we'll get into that at another time. So this was published in 4 different scientific journals. I want to talk about this, because I can, because it was a Star Wars tie-in and it's so weird, and I just want to talk about that stuff, but also curious what you guys do. We're in the news business, Spencer.
News-ish.
No, not ish. Adjacent. What do you guys do? I saw this amazing piece that was teaching kids how to discern real news, and I think it's so necessary. But I think who doesn't know how to do it is us, adults.
Okay.
Like, we're not educated in this way. I'm just curious, what's been your biggest fake out thing that you've fallen for online? Or that you've done, Spencer? What was the greatest trick the
I don't know,
devil ever pulled?
just usually celebrity deaths, because assholes are like, Bill Pullman died. And you're like, the same day as Bill Paxton? Or it's like, no, we just like, fooling people and making you feel bad. Jeff Goldblum's dead. Mark Hamill's dead.
Right.
I fall for that every time. Because
Do you?
yeah, why wouldn't you believe someone's dead?
Oh, no, they got me again.
Yeah, I swore that Alan Alda was dead for like years. And to the point where I would not, it became a joke between me and one of my exes where I would be like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Alan Alda's dead. Has been dead for years. I know he didn't make a cameo in this TV show.
Yeah.
He's like super dead. Because it was the only way that I could save face for being so dumb. But luckily I have a lot of like very dumb people in like my past. So any of those things, like if they share them, then I know it's bad. And so it's helped me kind of narrow down the list of like what websites can be trusted and which ones definitely cannot.
Well, what's interesting is that you ask a lot of people now, like they'll say a news story, and people I know even do this, and you say, well, where'd you hear that? Oh, on Facebook.
Yeah.
As if Facebook itself is the source of the news, and Facebook is certainly taking steps to try and ensure they don't profligate as much fake news. Dan, have you ever fallen for it? You don't seem like one to fall for things.
No, I fall for things all the time, especially if there's somebody that you follow. Social media is usually, you don't take just anything, but sometimes somebody that you know on social media that you trust will fall for something, and then they will then send their credence to. The one thing I remember falling for, there was like right around the inauguration, there was this clip of Donald Trump singing to what was said to be All-Star.
Smash Mouth All-Star.
and it looked really real, and it got shared a lot, and my barriers fell, and I fell for it. I fell for that hook, line, and sinker, and I felt really dumb for falling for that.
Well,
The things like that, where if it gains enough traction and it's not just outliers, but it's like people you know, and you're like, oh, interesting, because you assume that they've done their research when in fact nobody's done their research.
nobody's doing any of the research, as we can see here. And I love the fact that this guy basically did this to expose this problem. I'm going to test you guys on your ability to discern fake from real news right now.
Is this
Okay.
movie
We have
news or
some-
news news?
Yeah.
This is whatever Billy gave me news.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. Billy, can we pull up the first headline? I have it. We do not have it in a graphic form. I'm just learning this currently right now. So, a particle accelerator mishap triggers a massive shutdown. Thousands could be affected. Real or fake?
Real.
Dan?
That sounds fake to me.
Thousands could be affected.
I'm going to say fake.
Okay, this is the plot of the Flash television show.
Nice.
I think if the particle accelerator malfunctioned, there'd be a lot bigger ramifications.
Just
Well,
like,
there were, though. There were so many people with powers all of a sudden, and all of them criminals?
All
How
of
did
them
that
not
happen?
human.
Yeah.
it could have just been out of batteries. Like malfunction doesn't mean explosion.
I also love the fact that, you point out that the only people affected by this are just straight up criminals, always, or like people with extremely good will.
It was the Flash
One
and
or
then
the other.
everyone currently in jail, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
never really
Like, that's
explained.
it. Why does that work? Okay, ready? Scientists believe that survival in space, unprotected, is possible.
Unprotected.
Unprotected
Wow.
spacing.
Well, sure, but just not for human beings.
I agree, not for human beings.
Yeah, maybe like an amoeba or something.
Yeah.
This is sort of true. You can survive, they estimate, and this is via experiments, which makes me really sad, for at least a couple of minutes.
Oh,
Which
2 whole
just,
minutes.
just long enough for Star-Lord to come and scoop you up.
exactly.
Like,
Long enough for
that's the amount of time.
gotta do
Star-Lord to put his duster on and come rocket over
Yeah.
to...
All the criminals from the
contour
particle
people.
accelerator, we got to launch them into space.
Exactly. And then Star-Lord has to collect them. If
Circle
you
of
don't
life.
get collected, then you're dead. Coal ash is more radioactive than nuclear waste.
True.
Well, radioactive, I think, does not necessarily always mean hazardous, so I'm going to say that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are a random array of headlines.
I wish these were in some way related to movies. On
Like,
the
I know,
movie.
right?
I feel like I'm being quizzed on science.
I kind of want to watch that Cole movie if we can make that into a real thing.
This is related to science fiction, an often theme that we can freeze and preserve human life, which our own Roxy Stryer believes because she told me that's what she wants to have happen.
She wants to be
She wants
frozen.
to be frozen, yeah.
Chronologically frozen?
Walt Disney under the
cryogenically
Matterhorn?
frozen.
Yeah, chronologically frozen.
She wants to be chronologically
She wants
in
to
order.
be here.
In order of events, yes.
That is not true, as it turns out.
Oh.
Sadly for Roxy and for the rest of us, because if anyone deserves to be frozen, it's
It's
our
her
Roxy,
right now.
because she's pretty amazing, right? We just want to preserve that right now.
It goes Roxy, Stephen Hawking for me.
I just think
1, 2.
I just have to say I do think that the tie-in to Star Wars is amazing because this is such an easy thing to find out that is completely fictional. It sounds completely fictional. Why is this in a scientific journal? It's just a fun, interesting.
I want to
weird thing
research
me.
these scientific journals, especially the one that's like, oh, we're going to charge $360 for publication, because I don't think you would take like the cure for cancer to the American Journal of Medical and Biological Research and like, sounds great.
You have the cure for
Yeah,
cancer.
that's a bad sign.
Yeah, that's a bad sign.
If someone approaches you like, I'm going to be your manager, but you have to pay me, like,
That's not.
it's a scam.
They don't want to be your man.
Yeah, I think it's also like indicative of the fact, not just that like obviously these guys are pay for publish and they're garbage, but that like a lot of people just don't read beyond the headline. They're like, oh, that's the headline. I trust
sounds
you. Like
sciencey.
going back as that like fake news thing that we're talking about. A lot of folks just don't read past the headline, so they never got to the MIDI-CHLORIAN.
Yeah,
I guess.
The Austin Journal of Pharmacology and Therapeutics sounds like a weed magazine to me. I don't know if that's a sign. I apologize if you think it's
Hey,
an
brah.
esteemed institution, but
I'm curious.
I got
what
some high quality
percentage-
therapeutics for you, Dan, after the show.
the American Research Journal of Biosciences, that just sounds like a bunch of random science words. I don't know.
They are random science words, but I do think that things like this are increasingly effective. And I'm curious how many people in the comments actually watch this video. If you actually watched the entire video in total, use the word horse goat in comments, and we'll know that you actually watch it. NPR did that. They
Is that
did-
what happens when a horse and a goat fall in love?
Yes.
Okay.
You get a horse goat. They did that where they did an entire article that was a headline, and then the article was about how people don't read articles, and there were 1 million comments just about the headline. So, yay! Let's talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Kind of like our show yesterday. Everyone just commented on the headline and didn't watch what we actually said.
Ooh, I saw that. Yeah. Thanks.
Yay!
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. We love you very
Yes,
much.
thank you.
So let's talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp. It is officially going into production. They released a little short synopsis. Danielle, catch us up. What do you think about Ant-Man and the Wasp?
I'm excited to see what happens. This is cute. I like anytime they can kind of play it with the hey, tiny things are happening.
Sure.
Look, remember how they're
love
so
tiny
small?
things.
Little change. Yes.
Remember, guys, they're so small. You guys like small things. That's what the internet's taught us.
Yes.
So that's exciting. I love that Michelle Pfeiffer is going to be in it.
That's
I'm
cool.
really
How small will
excited.
she be?
She's tiny
Confirmed
Michelle
small?
Pfeiffer.
Okay.
Small Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that she's back because she's been in a lot of things lately, and it's really exciting for me personally as a Dangerous Minds aficionado.
Okay. So what are you? Are you a Grease 2? A Dangerous Minds?
Catwoman.
Yeah, Catwoman.
Catwoman,
She's
yeah.
done the Fabulous Baker Boys was certainly
So
a very
good.
good performance by Michelle Pfeiffer. She's done many great films. One Fine Day with George Clooney, which I have not seen, but I think many people enjoyed.
It's very fun.
There you go.
It is a very fun movie. Not
que-
as fun as Grease 2, but nothing is.
Nothing is.
Nothing is.
If we're honest.
Except for Grease 1. Much more fun.
Grease-
Different type of thing. Yeah.
Very different thing. It's sort of like Saturday Night Fever and then that follow-up movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one.
Staying
Alive.
Alive.
Yes.
The one that we couldn't remember the name of.
Or Sylvester Stallone's just walking down the street.
Yeah.
That's super weird.
Go YouTube the end of Staying Alive.
Oh, it's amazing.
Whatever that was.
I don't know.
It
what
is
that was.
amazing. Those two movies are examples of how, like, the first film was actually quite good. Saturday Night Fever is great, right?
Yeah,
Then
messed up.
Staying Alive is this amazing 80s trash fire
Dance aerobics.
explosion with dance aerobics on Broadway.
A lot
It
of
is
pyrotechnic
awesome.
dance aerobics.
But the same thing with Grease 2. Like, Grease 2 makes no damn sense at all.
It makes no sense. It's just about the pink ladies, and it's an inverse of the story. And then they got a guy who was so bad at singing that they had to make his one solo, like his huge solo song, like they had to pump up the crowd noise in the cafeteria. If you go back and watch it, you can barely hear him singing because it's like the sound of like plates and trays moving, and people like,
That's just
you want
realism.
more mashed potatoes?
Yeah.
It's
Or
like La La
Verite.
Land.
Yeah.
They're supposed to sound like crap. Right, Dan?
They didn't sound like crap. But that's a whole other story.
I'm getting a lot of horse goat in comments, so I want to thank you
Great.
guys for that horse goat. The actual question. I do not think that Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to suffer the fate of either Staying Alive or Grease 2.
We went down a weird side out.
I think it'll be good.
One can only hope.
But it's coming right after Infinity War, and this is where I'm confused because we saw that footage from Infinity War. I did anyway, and it was in Hall H. And anybody who didn't either read about it or, let's face it, you watched the leak.
I saw the weird camera phone footage.
The camera phone
I did
stuff.
not.
Good for you.
I refuse.
Good for you. Integrity. But
A lot of good it's doing.
for those
everyone
who
else.
cheated, it looks like everything is straight up destroyed by the end of Infinity War. So how do we think that the time for Ant-Man and the Wasp was even working?
Well, and I didn't see it either. I also didn't watch it. But my understanding is that you don't get to see a lot of Ant-Man even in the Infinity War footage. So I don't know. It could be that they're off in the quantum universe, being quantum-y and super, super small. It could be that they're doing a parallel time. I don't know. I don't know how you... But to be fair, what we know about the next phase after this is that it's going to be a lot of like Spider-Man is going to lead us through it, and that's one of the things we've been told. So there has to be something for him to hold our hand through, right? Kids still got to go to high school.
I don't think there has to be any relation to anything, just like the first Ant-Man, where they're like, why don't you call the Avengers? They're busy. I guess he's
Right.
like sort of a member now, but he could just do another heist movie in Temecula or someplace that
Yeah.
wasn't destroyed.
Definitely Temecula.
definitely
That is
Temecula.
the one place that will get saved.
It seems like, Infinity War is going to be really heavy, and this will be like a return to just... The first Ant-Man was a comedy. It's
Yeah.
a comedy wrapped around a heist movie, and I don't see why you can't do a standalone one.
They can't all go to space simultaneously. Like, were they all in the same building? That gets. I agree. Like, if comic books have taught me one thing, is that if all the superheroes are in space, someone's going to try something. Someone has to be left.
Yeah.
And it's got to
And
be
why not
Ant-Man.
the least qualified superhero? Why, that sounds like an entertaining premise for a film. Yeah.
You don't think it's a little weird not to mention like the world-destroying alien
They'll
that just
mention it.
came down
We
and
don't know
beat
what's-
everyone?
We don't know what the setup's going to be.
That's
no
what
clue.
we're currently talking about. We're imagining what the setup is going to be. I mean, it could take place before Infinity War because they've done that before. It could take place in sort of an adjacent timeline. They could be messing with time with the quantum realm, although I don't think you'd do a whole movie there. Or Spencer, you're right.
You could throw it away with a line, be like, there's something going on over here, Ant-Man, but I need you in Temecula.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, done.
Bottom line, this should be in Temecula.
Temecula or Tacoma, those are my two.
Yeah. What are they stealing in Temecula? Let's just roll into it.
KFC original recipe.
Someone has to, right?
It takes place over it's in real time. It's a 90-minute long movie about them stealing a chicken recipe. Yeah.
But
right.
the first Ant-Man, not to get too Dom Toretto-y, but the first Ant-Man movie was about family, and you're bringing in Michelle Pfeiffer now, and it's about building this little kind of weird family. Scott has a family. Scott. He's got a family, and now you've got Hank Pym's family, and if they want to, it's fine. Ant-Man didn't go to space. It's all right. There's another Avengers movie. You can go to space then,
Him
or
and
whatever
Falcon.
they're doing.
Leave him behind.
Ant-Man and the Falcon and the Wasp. That's what it should be called. Ant-Man and the Wasp and the Falcon.
And they just have
Only
a little,
animal-based heroes.
Only animal-based
To be
heroes.
fair, I like Paul Rudd a whole lot, but it feels like if you have a Paul Rudd at the same time you have a Chris Pratt, that's just too much of that guy in one movie. So
Yeah.
I'm okay if one of them stays.
And Robert Downey Jr. too.
Robert Downey Jr.
And Tom
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Like,
It's
oh
just
my
too-
God.
It's just too much of that
Quick
guy.
Rocket.
Oh God. Oh, it's going to be a quip fest while people's
Yeah.
heads are blown off.
Yeah.
Drax is going to run out of people to,
Misunderstand.
misunderstand.
It'll just be like Reservoir Dogs, but just quipping, just circular quipping.
Just one shot in a circle.
We've got a lot of people
Great
in favor.
Avengers show, but they're all quipping.
They're
like,
all quipping at each other.
People are loving this plot, you guys. We have a lot of hashtag original recipe heist people who are leaving.
I'm in.
You know what? Sasha Pearlraver and I predicted the maple syrup land grab on Riverdale, which I know you all have. Obviously,
I don't know what any of those words meant.
I know what those words mean. I did the research.
So, all right, we've done it. We've solved the internet today, you guys. We've learned how to discern real news from fake news.
Internet solved.
We have created. Thank you. You're
I
welcome,
feel like we
Marvel.
also are like 50% wrong on ourselves on detecting fake news.
That's
Oh
true.
yeah,
that's also-
actually. Have you ever pulled off a good prank on anybody, like a nice elaborate?
TBD. Let me think about it.
You're gonna do one in
Yeah.
order to. How about you, Dan?
There's a character that's all about fake headlines that I try to get pulled
Scoops,
off all
yeah.
the time. So he fills
You've
up
never
this
been
whole-
able to meet him. That's
No,
really, yeah,
it's
that's
like
the
ships in the
unfortunate
night.
thing. Yeah.
Someday.
Yeah. Someday.
we're all hoping for.
No,
Have
the
you ever
first
pulled-
episode of Flickbait, we did the same thing. It was all fake. I had them figure out fake news headlines from real ones, and it was like 50-50. It's very difficult, to be fair, because a lot of people sell it very effectively.
That's true. How about you? Well, but besides that, just pranking people.
Oh no, I don't like pranks. I think pranks are mean.
I'm not a prank. I'm with you. I don't prank people generally. I don't think.
Because what's the whole point of the whole point of a prank is like I did something to make you upset and now I'm laughing at how upset you
Yeah.
are. Like unless it's one of those pranks where it's like you open up like an Xbox for the kid and the kid it's not an Xbox and he cries and then you're like just kidding this was and then you give him the thing
Right.
and then it's like oh those are cute but it's usually just like oh
also
my kid
still
that I got
seems-
him a nice present.
It still
And you're just-
seems mean.
Yeah.
It is still kind
It's
of mean.
briefly
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
I generally don't like being pranked, so I generally also do not in turn prank others.
Yeah, and the new thing with pranks now isn't so much pranks as like
They're
people
mean.
deliberately trying to get their butts whooped.
Yeah.
And then being like, "Huh, you
Just a prank.
You beat me up," and it's like, "Well, you did, but you stole someone's fault. Like, what are you?"
It's called being a terrible person.
Yeah, that's just
It's like,
awful.
I'm a terrible person, but it's just a prank.
Prank, bro.
Oh, in that case.
Well, welcome to our new series, Prank It Forward. We have right here for you. I have done an elaborate prank in my life. I will say that. My best friend and I in junior high school followed the tropes of the horror movie genre in order to convince all of the girls that our locker room was haunted at the gym. Because who wants to go to gym if you're not doing that? Like,
Oh,
gym's
I did
super
do that
boring.
once. And yeah, I did prank a friend of mine. It was a group of us pranked him, and this was horrible and cruel. But we there was a big sleepover, and we just all convinced him that there was someone outside that was coming to kill us. And we had someone go outside and be knocking on windows.
no.
And, suck it, Frank. We got you.
I did. You know what? Now that I think about it, I did pull off one prank.
See?
It was a couple years ago. but
Oh,
I
it all
can't-
comes
I can't
out.
say who it was, but it was a good prank. It was
Yeah.
a really good prank.
Okay.
See, all the tea is coming
Yeah.
out right now. Our prank was fun. I think for us in any event. I
How
apologize
did we
to
even get
anybody.
here? Where did we start?
Thanks for another episode of ScreenJunkies Universe, where my con flu has led to an
Oh, boy.
array of
boy.
fascinating topics. I hope you
And
enjoyed
also
it.
infectious.
Yeah.
Y'all should have got sick when I did. I'm healed now. I can't. There's
Yeah,
nothing.
there's
She can
nothing.
cough right in my face. It's
Right
fine.
here. We can just
so
go make out and it will
careful.
all be fine.
I was
Thank you.
meticulous.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here and being amused to my disease.
Yes.
Where can the people find you?
The people can find me on Hyper RPG on Wednesday nights. I do a show called Valiant Vanquished. We're an official part of the Vanquished universe. We do role playing. You can catch me on my wrestling podcast, Tights and Fights. You can catch me on my plus size good stuff show, Fat and Fly AF. On Hissy Fit on YouTube. I'm everywhere. I keep forgetting.
are.
That's a lot of things.
Very
That's
busy.
That's what happened. I have like 8 jobs, you guys.
I love it. We can see you in all these places. I'm Roth Cornett. I'm here spreading disease and love. The disease that I spread is love.
And also the flu.
And the flu. And a total lack of pranking because we are kind, generous people. We try to be. I hope you've enjoyed our show today. This is Spencer Gilbert. He tolerated us.
Healthy for now.
Dan Merle.
Healthy as long as Spencer is.
Yeah, look at that. United, we fight the flu. Okay, great. Thanks for joining us today. Let us know what you thought in the comments below.
Hashtag Dogman? What is it?
Hashtag- I think it was goat horse.
Monkey dog, goat horse.
Hashtag goat horse.
No. Influenity war.
Influenity war. Ooh. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, that means hashtag Influenity war. Thank you again for joining us, where we will try to make more sense tomorrow. No
Won't happen.
promises.